Barbie Super Sports was released for both the PlayStation and the Windows PC between 1999 and 2001. Okay, so I know you might be wondering, why the hell am I covering a Barbie game? Well, the truth is that, funnily enough, there was quite a lot of Barbie games that were released on the PlayStation. Pretty much Barbie took over the platform in general, as there were so many titles that were available. It was just ridiculous. But in fairness, not all of them were that bad. There were some of them that actually had some good nuances and quirks. Just, again, they would have appealed to a different dynamic, or a younger dynamic. But to answer your question, why am I covering it? Well, the goal with this channel for me is to literally look at as many games on the PlayStation that I can possibly find. Even games that I never got to play, and yes, even games that I am reluctant to play. So if it's something that you're not willing to look at, then you can click off this video. It doesn't really matter, because I'm going to go through it anyway for my sins. But hey, it is what it is. As it was released on the PlayStation, I'm going to try my best to cover it whatever way I can. But there's not really much to say about the game in general when we look at it from an outside perspective, really. With regards to its reception, it was met with mixed reviews upon its launch. It did praise the sound effects and the decent visuals that were on offer, which are not too bad in fairness. But just the gameplay and the overall clunkiness of the controls and the fiddliness of it is definitely not the best out there. So it mixes up different action elements with the likes of snowboarding and rollerblading or roller skating, and you can compete in different types of tournaments or even just events where you'll have to collect items to help you gain cash so that you can unlock more features, even gain access to new outfits and abilities for your characters themselves. So there are multiple different competitions between stunts, racing, and just collecting items within a time limit. And there is hidden unlockables, so as you go through some of the courses, there's hidden areas that you can explore, and you'll need to find key items in order to unlock further progression in the game, especially if you're wanting to unlock everything that's available. Now, due to the fiddliness of the controls and just the game dynamics in general, this can be a tricky task for some, but it's a lot more approachable compared to a lot of other games, funnily enough, on the system, although it wouldn't be the most refined. But is it the worst game of its type out there? Well, it's hard to say. There is games out there that I have played that are pretty bad, in fairness, but this here does have some interesting elements of it, especially if you like exploration, even like the level types. But it is very simplistic, that's all I'm going to say.
Don't forget to look out for the secret ice tunnel. We can collect lots of tickets by boarding over the ramps. Awesome!
There's no airs and graces about it. It is what it is. What you see is literally what you get. But I suppose I can understand the appeal behind it, because it was focused at a younger dynamic back at that time, and it would have sold quite well as a result. Even with all of the elements and events and competitions that are in the game, it is quite short. It won't take you overly long to finish everything or to acquire everything within the game. It just depends on what you make of it at the end of the day. This will appeal to some, it won't appeal to others. That's just the dynamic of these games. But in saying that, the one thing I do like about the PlayStation is the fact is, back in the day, they weren't afraid to experiment and to put games like this out there onto the market. Like, to be brutally honest, you would barely ever see games like this ever be seen on the market today. It just won't happen. But back then, that was a thing. Anything that was popular, like a TV brand or a toy brand, there's a very good chance that if it was popular enough, it would have had a video game tied to it on the console. And the PlayStation, even likes of the PS2, were probably the best platforms for experimentation with video games, in fairness. So if that is anything to go by, that's probably its best element, is the fact is that these consoles were willing to take that gamble and put these games on their platforms. And like I always say, the PlayStation really did have something for everybody, and let's just say it really did, especially even with these games. It really did have something there for all types of players. But regardless of what I think of this game, it's simple to pick up and play. Not the best game on the system, but if you like extreme sports, or if you like snowboarding or rollerblading, there is something here that you can try out, even in short stints at least. But what are your thoughts of the game, if any? Or are you aware of the amount of Barbie games that were released on the system? Because believe me, there are quite a few, which I will try to cover in future videos for my sins. But anyway, let us know down in the comments below. And if you would like to see more content around more unusual and quirky and yet overlooked games like this that were released on the PlayStation, then I have a playlist here on screen so that you can see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.